It was 2:37 a.m. in the middle of the night. A newly wedded couple, Tunde and Muna, were lying on their bed. The room was quiet. The fan turned slowly. The curtains danced gently. It looked like peace lived in that room. Until something strange happened. Tunde turned in his sleep and felt it. Wetness. Not just a small patch. The whole bed beneath him was soaked. He sat up fast. The bedsheet clung to his body. The smell hit his nose. Sharp, sour, strong. He turned slowly. Muna was lying beside him. Her back was turned. Her body was stiff like dry wood. Her nightgown was soaked too, sticking to her skin like glue. Her wrapper was wet. Even her hair was damp. Tunde touched her shoulder. Muna, he whispered. She didn't answer. He blinked. Once, twice. Maybe he was dreaming. He touched her shoulder. Muna, he said again. Still no answer. Tunde sat up fully now, confused, lost. His eyes looked around the bed again. He was sure now. This wasn't a spilled cup of water. This wasn't sweat. It was something else. Something shameful. Something a grown-up woman shouldn't be caught doing. Muna just lay there, eyes wide open, breathing slow, like a statue that could still feel pain. But deep down, she knew what happened. It had happened before, again and again. Only this time, she didn't wake up fast enough to hide it. This wasn't the first. Long before Tunde came into Muna's life, many men wanted her. Men from the church, men from the market, even married men. They all looked at her the same way, like honey they wanted to taste. Muna was beautiful in a quiet way. Her skin shone like ripe mango. Her eyes were soft like the sky just before rain. When she laughed, even tired men smiled. Some called her Queen Muna. Others called her the untouchable. But Muna had one rule, a strange rule, a rule that confused every man. She always said, I don't sleep over, even when she agreed to walk in the dark with them, even when she allowed kisses behind quiet corners, even when she leaned on their chests and whispered sweet things. When night came, Muna would stand up and say, it's time for me to go. And when they begged, she would smile and say gently, I don't sleep over. At first, some men thought it was just pride. Some thought she was trying to play hard to get. Some even thought she was holy. But Muna was not proud. She was not playing. And she was not holy. She was hiding. Every night, before sleep, Muna would lock her door, close her windows, and sit quietly on her bed. Then she would open the bottom drawer of her wardrobe. Inside were her secret things. Adult diapers. Big ones. White ones. Some were folded like baby towels. Some were already layered with cloth pads. Some had pins. Some had tape. She would wear one, then another, sometimes 3 at once. She would wrap herself tight like a parcel, hoping the night wouldn't win. Sometimes she added a thick towel between her legs. Sometimes she laid a rubber sheet on the bed before lying down. And always, she kept a bucket beside her bed, just in case. But no matter what she did, no matter how tight she wrapped herself, no matter how many layers she used, the bed always got wet, every single night. By morning, the sheets would be soaked, the diaper swollen, the towel useless, her thighs damp, her shame full. And every morning, she would wake up before the sun, wash the sheets in silence, dry the rubber mat, spray perfume in the room, and fold the diapers back into the drawer. Then she would go outside and smile like nothing was wrong. But something was wrong. Something deep, something quiet. And no one knew. No one except Muna. And of course her grandmother, the one she stayed with. And that was why she never, ever slept over. Not even once. She looked perfect on the outside. The kind of girl men fought over. But on the inside, she carried a burden that no beauty could cover. And now, Tunda had found out. This was not the beginning. It was only the beginning of the end. When Muna was just 19, her heart found its first home in Chuck's. He was gentle, soft voice, kind eyes. The only boy she ever trusted enough to hold her hand in public. He called her Sunshine, and she called him My Peace. For 6 months, they stayed like that, talking, laughing, touching hands. But Muna still kept her rule. She never spent the night. Every evening, no matter how late, she went home. Then one Saturday, the sky was full of clouds, and the wind was wild like it was chasing something. Chuck said, "Stay tonight, Muna. Please, just this once. It's too late. The road is not safe." Muna shook her head. "I'll be fine." But Chuck held her hand. "Muna, I promise I won't touch you. Just stay. One night." Muna looked at him. She felt safe with him. And for the first time ever, she said, "Okay." That night, they watched a movie. They ate fried yam and talked about their childhood. Then they laid on the bed, holding each other. Chuck's arms wrapped around her. Muna closed her eyes, heart beating like a drum. She didn't sleep much, but when she did, it was light and broken. By morning, it happened. The bed was wet, soaked like someone poured water. Chuck opened his eyes slowly, stretched, then sat up. He touched the bed and froze. He looked at his shirt, wet. He sniffed. Then his face changed. "Muna," he whispered, voice full of shock. "Is this?" Muna sat up quickly. Her eyes were wide. Her face was pale. "I'm sorry. I'm sorry," she said again and again, her voice shaking. She jumped off the bed, found a bucket, filled it with water, and began scrubbing the mattress like someone trying to erase a curse. Tears dropped from her chin to the floor. She didn't look at Chuck's. She couldn't. Chuck stood by the wall, watching, silent, confused, hurt. "Muna, what is this? Are you sick?" She didn't answer. She just kept scrubbing. The next day, she begged him not to tell anyone. Chuck said, "I won't," and he didn't. But after that, the calls came less often. The texts were short. His hugs were empty. And one day, he just stopped coming. Muna didn't ask why. She already knew. That was the first time she slept over, and the last time Chuck ever held her hand. That was the day Muna learned. No matter how soft a boy's words are, shame can still make him walk away. She went back to her grandmother's house, carrying her secret like a wet cloth on her back. Muna walked home slowly, her legs tired, her eyes heavy like rain clouds. When she reached the gate, Grandma was sitting outside, peeling okra. She looked up and smiled like she had been expecting her. "My child," she said. "Come in." Muna dropped her bag. Grandma didn't ask where she was coming from. She didn't ask why her face looked like tears had painted it all night. She just stood up and opened her arms. Muna ran into them. The hug was warm, but Muna's heart was still cold. Later that evening, Muna sat on the old wooden stool behind the house, the one under the mango tree. Her head was buried in her hands. The goats walked past her feet, but she didn't look up. "Grandma," she said softly, "I'm not a child anymore." Grandma kept washing bitterly beside her. "This thing I'm going through, it's not normal," Muna whispered. "It's not stress. It's not bad dreams. It started when I came here. When I started living with you." She lifted her face. Her eyes were red like charcoal fire. "When Daddy brought me after the divorce between him and my mom, that same month, I started wetting the bed, and since then, my daddy never returns for once, not even to come check on me. Her voice cracked. Her fingers pulled at her dress. I've tried. I've begged God, but it's not stopping. What's wrong with me, Grandma? Grandma didn't turn. Don't worry, she said. It will stop. With time, Muna frowned. That's what you said before. But Grandma just smiled again, eyes far away like she was watching something in the sky. She stood up, wiped her hands, and went inside the house. Muna sat alone. The wind blew, the trees swayed, but her heart stood still. She didn't know Grandma was hiding something, something deep, something dark, something older than the shame she carried. She kept it behind her smile, behind her soft voice, behind her quiet hands. Muna didn't know. She thought Grandma just didn't understand, but Grandma understood too well. She just didn't want to speak. Not yet. Years passed. Muna stayed quiet. She didn't laugh like before. She still helped Grandma with cooking and sweeping, but the sparkle in her eyes faded. Then one sunny afternoon, she met Bulma. He wore a clean white shirt and a tie that looked expensive. He worked in a big bank in town. His voice was smooth like melted butter, and his shoes shined like new coins. When he saw Muna at the pharmacy, he smiled and said, "Such beauty should not be standing in line." Muna looked away, but from that day, he kept coming. Every evening, he brought her flowers, bread, jollof rice, perfume, fruits. Even Grandma liked him. "This one has sense," she said once. Bulma didn't rush. He took his time, like a man reading a book slowly. One Sunday evening, he knelt near the mango tree with a small box. "Muna," he said, "marry me." Muna froze. Her stomach turned. She looked down, then up. "I have a condition," she said. "Sometimes I wet the bed." Bulma blinked, but he didn't step back. "We'll manage it together," he said. "You're just human, and we all are not perfect. I mean, we all have something we're dealing with in secret." Muna's eyes filled with tears. She said yes. The wedding was big. The whole town came. Drums beat. People danced. Even Grandma smiled till her cheeks ached. But that night, Muna prepared herself like she was going to battle. In the bathroom, she wore a thick adult diaper. She folded 2 towels and laid them on her side of the bed. She placed a folded wrapper on top. Then she set an alarm for 2:30 a.m. She didn't sleep. She just watched the ceiling. But before she knew it, her eyes closed. And by morning, the bed was soaked. Before Bulma could wake up, she cleaned everything fast. Used wipes. Used a hand dryer. Changed the towel. Next night, same thing. Third night, still the same. Muna smiled during the day, but every night her fear sat beside her, breathing on her neck, and her shame, it never slept. Muna became a night guard in her own marriage. Every night before bed, she laid her weapons, thick diaper, big towel, plastic sheet, wrapper, and perfume. She set 2 alarms, one for midnight, one for 2:30 a.m. When Bulma slept, Muna stayed awake. When he turned, she stayed still. When the pee came, she rushed to clean it, like a thief hiding stolen food. Sometimes she didn't sleep on the bed at all. She laid a mat on the floor, put nylon under it, and wrapped herself like cassava in leaves. When Bulma asked, "Why sleep on the floor?" she smiled. "My back hurts a little." For 3 weeks, she hid everything. Fast hands, quick wipes, silent cleaning. But one night, sleep caught her deep. The alarms rang. She didn't hear. The diaper filled. The towel soaked. The nylon overflowed. Everything was wet. Bulma turned in his sleep and felt it. His hand touched the sheet. His eyes opened. He sniffed. His face changed. Muna was still sleeping. Her wrapper stuck to her like shame. Bulma didn't speak. He rolled away and closed his eyes. In the morning, Muna woke up smiling. "Good morning," she said, like nothing happened. Bulma didn't smile back. He sat on the bed, staring at the floor. "I thought I could do this," he said slowly. "But I can't." Muna's heart dropped. "I'm trying." "I know," he said. "But it's every night." The room has started smelling. They tried everything: rubber sheets, holy oil, herbal leaves soaked in salt, steam baths, even fasting. But the bed still got wet. Every night, she tried to sleep less. She stayed awake longer, but sleep always found her, and shame always came with it. Bulma started changing. He started coming home late, sometimes midnight, sometimes not at all. He stopped holding her, stopped smiling, stopped trying. When she asked, "Where did you sleep?" he would say, "Don't start." Muna grew quieter. Her smile faded. Her body felt like a cage, her spirit like a ghost in her own home. One afternoon, she came back from the market with tomatoes and pepper. She placed the basket on the table and saw a brown envelope beside it. She opened it with shaking fingers. It was the divorce papers. Her hands dropped to her sides. The words on the paper looked blurry, like they were floating in water. No fight, no warning, just silence. The same silence that had followed her for years. She folded the paper back, sat on the floor, and stared at nothing. Her husband had left, not with shouting, not with a slap, but with ink on paper. And Muna knew shame had won again. And this time, the wetness came from her eyes. Muna didn't fight. She folded her clothes slowly, like someone folding sorrow. She placed her perfume wrapper and Bible inside her small bag. The wedding photo on the wall, she left it there, face down. Then she left. Her legs carried her back to the only place she knew, the house with rusted zinc and a cracked doorstep. Grandma's house. When she reached the compound, Grandma was sitting on a stool, peeling garden eggs. She looked up and saw Muna. She didn't ask anything. She just opened her arms. "Welcome, my child." Muna fell into the hug. Her chest broke open with sobs. Grandma held her, quiet, no questions. Later that evening, Muna sat on the bench under the guava tree. Her head was down. Her voice was low. "Grandma." "Yes?" "This thing is not ordinary." Grandma said nothing. "It started when I came here," Muna whispered. "Every night, just like that." Grandma kept peeling. Her hands didn't stop. "Maybe it's spiritual. Maybe I was cursed. But Grandma," she paused, "I feel like it's connected to this house." Grandma looked at the sky, then back at the bowl of golden eggs. "It will stop with time," she said softly, like she was reciting from a song she had said many times. Muna's chest tightened. "You always say that." Grandma stood up, picked the peelings, and walked inside. Muna sat alone. The moon came out, the crickets sang. But in Muna's heart, the questions got louder. And behind Grandma's silence, something dark was hiding, something waiting. Life went on. Muna swept, cooked, washed, but her smile stayed locked behind her lips. Then Mark came. He was a teacher at the town's junior school. He wore simple shirts, carried a brown bag, and always smelled like chalk and soap. He wasn't loud like other men. He didn't chase. He just showed up. Often. "Good afternoon, Mama." He'd greet Grandma with a wide smile. "Need help with the water drum?" He fixed the leaking tap. He carried firewood. He even changed the bulb in Muna's room without being asked. But he didn't come for Grandma. He came for Muna. He would sit with her under the almond tree in the compound, the tree that dropped yellow leaves like quiet blessings, They talked about books, dreams, little things. Mark would talk. Muna would mostly listen and laugh sometimes. Slowly, her laughter started coming back. He was patient. He never pushed. Then one quiet afternoon, after sharing roasted yam and groundnut, he said, Muna, I want to marry you. Muna dropped the piece of yam from her hand. No, she said softly. Why? Mark asked. She looked away. I can't tell you. Mark didn't shout. He just smiled. Whatever it is, we'll manage. I'm not afraid. Muna stared at him like she was trying to read his heart. Then she nodded. Okay, she said. But in her mind, she made a promise. He must never find out. She had lost love before. This time, she would do everything to protect it, even if it meant hiding the shame. Again, this time, Muna came ready. Every night, before lying beside Mark, she prepared like a warrior going to battle. She wore 2 thick adult diapers, one inside, one outside. She laid plastic nylon under her side of the bed. On top of it, she placed a towel. Then she folded a wrapper and tucked it under her hips. She sprayed perfume beside the pillow. She set 3 alarms, 1 a.m., 2:30 a.m., 3 a.m. When Mark slept, she stayed awake, watching the time like a night guard. Sometimes she would wait till he started snoring, then quietly roll onto the mat on the floor and sleep there instead. If he asked, "Why are you on the floor?" she smiled and said, "My waist is paining me. The mat helps." Mark never doubted her. Muna moved like smoke in the night, quietly, carefully, without a sound. One Friday evening, Mark said, "I'm going to night fellowship. I'll be back before midnight." Muna nodded. "Okay, my husband." As soon as he left, she set her alarms again. She washed her hands twice. She sat on the bed, determined not to sleep, but sleep is a thief. It crept in like breeze through a broken window. Her eyes closed slowly. She didn't hear the first alarm. She didn't hear the second. And when Mark opened the door at 1:38 a.m., the room greeted him with silence and a strong smell. He looked at the bed. Muna was fast asleep, her wrapper soaked, the bed wet, the towel useless. The diapers had failed. He stood at the door, staring. Then he walked to the bathroom, changed his clothes, and came back to lie beside her. Muna didn't wake, but her secret had escaped again. And this time, someone had seen it. The next morning, Mark said nothing. He kissed Muna's forehead and went to work. Muna smiled, but her heart was racing. She could feel something had changed. His kiss was light. His eyes didn't rest on her like before, but she hoped maybe he didn't notice. But as he stepped out of the room, his heart whispered, "Let it be a one-time thing." Maybe she was too tired. Maybe she had a bad dream. Maybe, but the doubt sat in his chest, stubborn like a stone in a pot of soup. And Muna, once again, carried her secret like dry leaves hiding under the carpet. That night, they ate quietly. Mark talked a little. Muna laughed small laughs. After prayers, they went to bed. Mark closed his eyes. Muna thought he had slept, but he didn't. He was watching, not with anger, not with hate, just with quiet eyes. At exactly 2:12 a.m., he felt it. The bed grew warm beneath her. The sheet darkened. Muna stirred. She sat up quickly, touched the towel, soaked. The diaper had failed again. She didn't panic this time. She moved fast. She stood, pulled off the diaper, rolled it into a plastic bag. She wiped the sheet with tissue. She picked the hand dryer from the table and dried the bed in circles. Mark closed his eyes halfway, pretending. She changed her towel, laid a fresh wrapper, wore another diaper. Then she slid back under the blanket like nothing happened. Mark stayed quiet. When morning came, he turned and looked at her. Muna, he said gently, are you sure everything is okay? Muna smiled. Mark, maybe you are dreaming. Nothing happened. Mark looked into her eyes. He didn't argue. He just nodded. On the third night, Mark stayed awake again. This time, he kept the lamp close. Muna followed the same routine. Sleep, then wetness, then panic. She cleaned. She wiped. She bent over the bed, blowing warm air to dry the shame. But this time, she didn't know Mark was watching. He sat up slowly. Then, without saying a word, he turned on the light. Muna froze. She didn't move. The towel dropped from her hand. Her wrapper hung loose. Her mouth opened, but no words came. You saw everything, she whispered, like a child caught stealing food. Mark looked at her, not with anger, not with hate, just with quiet eyes full of questions. Muna looked down. Her shame had finally been caught, and there was nowhere left to hide. Muna sat on the edge of the bed, her hands shaking, her face wet with tears. The diaper was still on the floor. The towel lay folded at her feet. The lamp was still on, casting soft shadows on the wall. Mark sat beside her, his voice gentle. Muna, what is wrong with you? Muna breathed in deeply. Her chest moved like a broken drum. I don't know, she whispered. I've been like this since I was 7. Mark's head tilted. 7? She nodded. That's the year my parents divorced. She wiped her face, but the tears kept coming. That year, my parents started fighting. Every day, loud fights, crying. My mother didn't want me to stay with Grandma, but Grandma insisted. She said I belonged with her. Muna paused, closed her eyes. Then one day it happened. My mother, she was caught with another man. My father got angry. He ended the marriage. That same week, he took me to live with Grandma. She looked down at her feet. And that's when it started. The bedwetting? Mark asked. She nodded. The very same month. No sickness? No. No injury? No. Did you tell anyone? I tried. I told Grandma, but she only said, it will stop with time. That's what she always said. No doctor could explain it. No prayer stopped it. No medicine helped. Mark looked at her, his heart growing heavy. So many years, so much shame, so much silence. Muna began to cry again, not loudly, just soft, deep sobs. I always hoped it would stop, she said. I always hoped the next man wouldn't find out, but they all did. And they all left. She stood up quickly, her voice trembling. You will leave too. I know it. That's how it always ends. She turned to pack her things, but Mark rose and took her hand. Muna, I'm not going anywhere. She looked at him, surprised. Her lips parted, but no words came out. We're married, he said softly, and we'll find a solution, together. His hand held hers firm and warm. Muna didn't answer, but for the first time in years, she didn't feel alone. The next morning, Mark took Muna by the hand. We're going to see my father, he said. Muna nodded. Her heart beat fast, but she followed him. Mark's father was a pastor, a quiet man with deep eyes and a voice that made even proud people bow their heads. His prayer room was small, just one chair, 2 stools, a wooden table, and candles burning low in the corners. A big Bible sat in the middle of the table. The air smelled like oil and peace. Mark greeted his father. Papa, this is Muna, my wife. The pastor nodded. He looked at Muna for a long time. Then he said, Sit down, my daughter. Muna sat. The candles flickered. The pastor asked, I heard what my son said. but I need to ask you myself. Who raised you? Muna hesitated, then said, My grandmother. The room went still. The pastor's eyes changed, slowly, like a door opening to something old. He sat up straight. You mean your father's mother? Muna nodded. Yes. He looked at Mark, then back at her. His voice dropped low, almost like a whisper. We need to see her. Muna blinked. My grandmother? Yes. For what? There is something I need to check. Later that day, Muna went home and told Grandma, Papa wants to see you. He wants to pray for us. Grandma was sitting by the fire, peeling cassava. She stopped and looked up sharply. Me? Go to a prayer house? For what? Grandma, please. He just wants to pray. Her grandmother's eyes narrowed. When have you ever seen me going to prayer houses? I don't do pastors. I don't need prayers. Muna frowned. But why? Grandma stood and wiped her hands. That man should mind his business. She walked into the house and closed the door hard. Muna stood outside, confused. Why was Grandma so afraid of one small prayer? Why did her hands shake just at the mention of the pastor? In her heart, Muna felt something shift. Something was not right. And now she knew for sure. Grandma was hiding something. Something dark. Something deep. The next morning, they didn't wait for permission. Mark, Muna, and the pastor got into the car and drove straight to Grandma's house. The compound was quiet. Birds were singing on the mango tree. A goat was tied near the steps, chewing lazily. Grandma was in the backyard, bending over a pot of boiling yam. When she saw them enter, with a Bible in the pastor's hand, her face changed. She dropped the spoon. She turned quickly, trying to slip through the back door. But the pastor raised his voice, strong and firm, like thunder in the sky. Stop there. She froze. The time has come. You must confess. Grandma turned slowly. Her eyes were sharp like broken glass. She pointed at Muna. Shame on you. You brought this man into my house. Look what you've become. A disgrace. Muna stepped back, her heart beating fast. Mark stood beside her. The pastor opened his Bible and began to pray. His voice grew louder, stronger, deeper. Every hidden thing must be revealed. Every darkness must come to light by the power of God. He took a small bottle from his pocket and sprinkled water into the air. The water touched Grandma's face. She screamed. Her hands flew to her head. Her knees bent. Her mouth opened, but no words came out at first. Then she began to shake, violently, like a tree caught in storm wind. Her eyes rolled back, white and wild. Her voice came out, loud and strange. Stop! I'll confess! I'll confess! She dropped to the ground, arms spread, shaking. Muna gasped. The secret had started to come out, and there was no turning back. Grandma's body shook on the ground. Her mouth opened wide, and a scream came out, sharp like a knife cutting through air. Then her voice changed, deep, not like her own. She cried out, loud and bitter. I cursed your parents' marriage. I did it with my own hands. Muna stepped back. Her legs became weak. Her breath caught in her throat. Your mother refused to give you to me. She didn't trust me. But your father brought you anyway. Tears ran down Muna's face like a broken pipe. Grandma's hand slammed the floor. When Muna came to live with me, I offered her to my coven. She was the sacrifice for my power. Every time she wets the bed, my strength grows. Her shame gives me rank. That's why I never helped her. That's why I never let it stop. The pastor kept praying. His voice grew louder. Every curse be broken. Every spirit of affliction, leave now. Grandma screamed louder. Her body twisted on the ground. Every night you wet the bed, I rose in power, she shouted. That's why I never helped you. I needed it to continue. I needed it to live. Muna dropped to her knees, shaking all over. Why, Grandma? Why? But Grandma's eyes were wide open now, like they had seen something from far away. Then suddenly, her mouth went silent. Her hands stopped moving. Her head dropped to one side. And just like that, she collapsed. No breath, no sound. She died on the spot. Mark rushed to hold Muna. The room was quiet. The air was heavy. The curse was broken, but the price had been paid. That night, Muna slept like a baby. No diapers, no towels, no nylon, no alarms. Just her and the bed. Just her and peace. Mark lay beside her, watching her sleep. Soft, quiet, calm. He smiled, then closed his eyes too. When the sun came up the following morning, Muna opened her eyes slowly. She touched the bed. Dry. She sat up fast, still dry. She looked at Mark. It didn't happen, she whispered. For the first time, it didn't happen. Mark sat up and smiled. It's over, he said. You're free. Muna burst into tears. Not the tears of shame she once cried, but the kind that water joy and wash away pain. From that day, she slept freely. No fear, no plastic, no secrets. The shame was gone. The burden was broken. The curse was finished. Mark never left her side. He held her every night like treasure. He looked at her like a gift. And Muna smiled again. Truly smiled. She cooked, she danced, she laughed with the wind. And deep inside her heart, she said softly, thank you to the man who stayed. Because sometimes the strongest love is the one that stays when everything else has run. I hope you enjoyed the tale. If so, please like the video, share it with your family and friends, comment on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell for more enchanting tales like this one. Goodbye.